Ian McShane is a former Europe minister with a history of strong opinions on UK EU relations. And indeed, I mean, he's the person who was ejected from the European Parliament when he went to have a meeting with Nigel Farage because there was, quote, a strong smell. He's had a very bumpy career. I think that's probably the best description. And Keir Starmer's cautious stance on EU negotiations and Thomas Simmons' role in the upcoming Brexit reset talks is not enough for Dennis McShane. McShane criticises, he says, the Home Office's alleged obstruction and Cooper's involvement Yvette Cooper's involvement in that obstruction is what is stopping our greater EU participation. The key points of criticism that he's looking at are the youth mobility scheme and its importance to EU member states, especially Germany, and his accusation that the Home Office under Yvette Cooper is dragging its feet. And the red lines in Starmer's manifesto, particularly around free movement, are part of that underlying tension. McShane has taken to Twitter, calling Thomas Simmons ultra cautious and blaming Cooper's Home Office for delay. And there are good reasons to compare this to the Blair-era Treasury sabotaging EU collaborations, a historical parallel that might bolster McShane's arguments. The broader implications here are significant. The stalled youth mobility scheme is a symbol of what UK EU relations could be like, but at the moment it's a symbol of mistrust, and it risks alienating key EU allies at a time when security and trade partnerships are critical. And Starmer's challenge is to balance a reset with the EU without alienating Leave voters. Cooper's Home Office the Home Office itself is risk averse, partly because it doesn't do any work, partly because it's filled with lazy individuals, and it potentially undermines Labour's broader agenda. Added to this, the impact of Donald Trump's likely return to the presidency in January, and the UK faces a choice between deepening its ties with the EU or prioritising an uncertain US trade deal. And McShane's warning about missed opportunities with the EU as a hedge against unpredictable US policies is a good warning. Now, the problem is, who is it coming from? It is coming from somebody who was deeply admired in the expenses scandal, served 4 months in prison and was then tagged and served the rest of his time at home. He is scapegoating Yvette Cooper and the Home Office. Clearly, he's in the publicity which has gone out there, doesn't seem very much acknowledgement of his past controversies and how they colour his credibility. But I think his credibility is questionable. And Starmer's caution is rooted anyway in his own political survival, avoiding the backlash of reopening the Brexit wounds, which are very fresh. Cooper may be adhering to broader Labour strategy rather than obstructing out of ideology, and therefore, McShane's broader argument that Britain's future hinges on a proactive reset with the EU, absolutely, I entirely agree with him. But how that reset is managed and how that is managed domestically as well as internationally is important. I think it's quite true. I think it's absolutely true that the Home Office is dragging its feet because that's what the Home Office does. I think McShane is quite the wrong person to be highlighting this story because McShane is damaged goods. And although I enjoyed his prison diaries enormously, I think it's eclipsed by what's his name, Jeffrey Archer's writings, but I don't see that McShane's sharp critique is anything more than a desperation to get back into the headlines and to seek the spotlight. Is it a nuanced exploration of the political and strategic landscape? Does it offer any sort of clear overview of the situation? Well, yes, but more than anything else, it rakes up a history of the expenses scandal in 2008 and the complexities of Brexit, a legacy that no party has yet managed to escape. This story is an interesting story and an important story, and Yvette Cooper's foot dragging is an important issue, but McShane is the wrong person to bring it up.